Hey party people, I'm Sean Mullen from RampantDesignTools.com with more free 4K effects just for you. In today's video, I'm going to show you studio flares from Rampant's Film and Light category. These effects are so crazy popular that they've been downloaded almost 3 million times. Check it out. So how do you get on this train? How do you get the 4K free goodness? Go to the number 4, the letter K, and the word free.com. That's right, it's 4kfree.com. And when you go there, it's going to take you to a little page that looks something like this right here. So all you do is enter your name and your email address. And then click here to download. Wachaki. When you do that, you'll get an email, and that email will take you right here. Boom, 4kfree.com. Even the bear loves you. Everybody here loves you. Scroll on down, check it out. Check out all this free goodness. You got free project files, you got all these different overlays and flares and film effects and animated mats and transitions and motion graphics. This is all for you. Stephanie and I made this for you. You don't need to pay for it. You don't need to link to us. It's not watermarked. This is all 100% free stuff from our paid for library. These aren't throwaways. These aren't bonus elements. These aren't like, well, you know, we've got this cool library, we'll just give you a little something, something. No, this is legitimately from the library, and it's awesome. If it wasn't awesome, I wouldn't give it to you. Cool, so what am I looking for? Go to Rampant Film and Light, and we're looking for studio flares right here. How do I get it? Click here to download free effects. It's that simple. Watch this. Boom. I'm downloading right now. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have some amazing 4K flare goodness. Real flares too, not generated by a plug-in or a computer. This was shot in our studio with real light, real glass, and real cameras. All right, so while you're waiting, if you're interested in any of these other products, go ahead and click boom, boom, boom. Just download everything you want, you know? Just figure out what you want and download it. And if you don't know what you want, or if you don't know what something is, the buttons next to them will show you more information. It's not going to charge you anything. It does say click here to purchase full product, but all that means is it takes you to the store page. So for example, if you click the flares, and you go like this, boom, it takes you to our flares library, which shows you what our actual professional flares library comes with. So it's 531 flares. That's a lot. It works in all the different apps that you can think of, and it's a pretty big, the library itself is pretty big. You can find out how much it costs, what people say about it. You can watch a couple promo videos. You know how product pages work. I don't need to tell you, but you can see that these products come from much bigger libraries, but it's the same stuff. It's not similar. It's actually from the library. So if you were to buy studio flares, the couple free flares that come with 4K free will be included in this flare package. Okay, so you've got the flares. Let's jump into Premiere Pro and get started. We want to make this kind of flary goodness over our footage. How do I do it? Well, first things first, I got to bring my flares in. So what do? Well, these, like I said, I shot these in the studio, so these are real flares. These aren't generated, so I have to bring them in. They're not a plugin. So a couple different ways you can bring them in, right here in your project window. So you right-click, select import, and then you find your flares where you downloaded them. And we have 4 flares right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then click import. And then it just brings them in, see? I'm going to go ahead and undo that because there's another way you can bring the flares in as well. Go up to File, Import, same thing, bring them in like that. Boop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete them like this because I've already brought them in and I put them in this nice little bin right here. Okay. So if you have a lot of flares, we've only got 4 free ones right here. So if you had a lot of them, this is the quickest way to kind of see what you've got going on. You can just scrub over them really quickly with your cursor just to kind of get a vibe of what you're looking at before you even make a choice, right? Cool. So now how do I get these flares right here onto my footage? I can see this. I can see this cool shot, and we added a flare to it. Nice. But how do I do that? Okay, well, let's just see what flare this is. This is flare 413. So if you're following along, I want you to use the same flare on your footage. So go to the list view and find flare 413. That's one right there. Okay, cool. So here's the raw shot without the flare. And I want the flare to be on top of the shot. So I just grab the flare like this, drag it, and drop it. Boom. And you're like, hey, wait a second. Now I see the flare. The flare is cool, but I don't see my footage. What gives? You've got one more step. So the steps are drag, drop, and blend. It's real simple. So go ahead and highlight your effect right there. Hit Shift 5 to open up your effect controls. And what you're looking for right here under opacity is blend mode. And clips come standard as normal because you don't necessarily want to blend every clip you drop into your timeline. So go ahead and drop normal to screen, and we're now blending the flare into the footage, and uh-oh, what do we got? It looks awesome. Yeah, cool, see? There you go, instant flare. Nice. Now, of course, there's a lot more flexibility to these than just dropping them on, and I'll show you why. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to zoom out real quick, and you know what I'm about to do if you've ever seen any of my other tutorials. But if you haven't, check this out. I'm in an HD timeline. These are all HD clips. This is an HD timeline, and you can tell that by, if I highlight this video right here and I highlight motion, there's my bounding box, there's my frame size. So I have an HD clip and an HD timeline. Nothing crazy, that's great. But we're giving away 4K. So my question that I receive every single day, every single email I get for the most part is why 4K? There's still a lot of people out there who think that 4K is not for them for whatever reason. I'm not asking you to work in 4K. I'm just wanting you to see the power of 4K in HD. So what does that mean? Well, let's go ahead and highlight our element and go over to motion and check out this bounding box. Remember, I showed you the bounding box of the clip that we're blending on top of, right? So that's HD. But check this out. Boom. So what does that mean to me? Well, what that means is you're only seeing a small portion of the flare. If I move this, oh, check it out. That's the size of the frame of the flare. So what does that mean? Well, like I'm doing right now, I can reposition. I can give you a lot more flare with a lot of more edge light. I can give you less flare with less edge light, but some of the chroma hoops maybe. You know, you have an ultimate choice over what exactly it is you want this thing to do, purely because it's so much larger than the footage that you're editing, right? So what else can I do? Well, you could rotate it. You know what? I don't judge. You can absolutely rotate. There's probably a need for rotated flares, and there you go. Boom. I can also undo all that. And what else can I do? Well, I can scale it to get more of the flare in the shot, because maybe you want the whole thing. You know, and if you're ever interested in what the whole thing looks like, just double click on the element. And over here, you can just kind of scroll through in the source window. Pretty cool, right? So what else can I do? I've scaled it. I've repositioned it. What else can I do? Well, the cool thing is once you've got a flare blended, all you have to do is just duplicate it, and you can put it anywhere you want, right? Or you can just move it yourself. What if this flare works great, but it only works great for a different shot in your mind, right? So you're like, hey, this is cool, and this flare is great, but I really want it over this guy here. So just go ahead and just drag it through. Boom. And that's it. Because remember, we're dealing with footage, so it's that simple to put a flare on a shot. And if this is all you're interested in, if you don't want to know any more techniques, this video is done for you. Please subscribe. Please click that blue button in the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner right there. Wham. Click that and sub, and leave a comment, and please tell your friends. I'm going to go ahead and show you other ways of getting more out of these flares, but it's that simple, right? You can also duplicate. So remember, this flare was over here. And you're like, well, I like this flare. I want this flare on everything. You know, you can be like that. That's cool. So just go ahead and highlight the flare right there, and on the Mac, Option drag, and on the PC, Alt drag, and just go bloop, like so. And now it's made a duplicate. And now that very flare is on this new shot. Now remember, because these flares are footage, let's go ahead and let's do another shot. And since I've already shown you everything, let's just go ahead and just do it again, right? So just grab any flare. I'll grab a flare that I didn't use before, and what do? Go ahead and highlight the flare, Shift 5 to open effect controls. We're looking under opacity, blend mode, and we're looking for screen. Now by all means, go ahead and play around with the blend modes. Overlay is crazy. Screen is crazy. Add, screen's pretty much standard. Add is going to blow out the highlights, right? But if you're looking for a hotter glow, there you go. I personally like screen, like so. There's all kinds of overlays, a lot of fun to play with, like I showed a second ago. Color dodge, you know, feel free to play and find the look for you. I typically start with screen and move forward. Now that you know how to drag, drop, and blend, is there anything else that you need to know? Well, there's a couple things that you can do. If you like the flare that you have, but you want to test other flares out, the best way to do that, instead of drag, dropping, and replacing all the time, you know, because you can be like, okay, that's cool, but now I'm going to try a different one. So, sir, you go over here, and I'm just going to grab this one like this. This one's really big, so I'll cinch it in. And then, of course, I got to blend it, right? So there, boom. You can do that, and you can do that every time if you really just enjoy the process, but you don't necessarily have to. That's a lot of extra work, and if you've got a lot of work to do, the fewer steps, the better, right? So how do I take this flare and just kind of audition other flares on top of my footage? Well, you just find out what flare you're using, which is 153. So I'll just find a different flare and just grab it and drag it on top of the other flare. Now, before I let go ahead and hit Option on the Mac or Alt on the PC, and it will just swap it right out. See? Flare number 2, that's pretty good. Let's try this one. Flare number 3, like, huh, interesting. And you can just keep doing this all day long until you find the flare that works for you. You're like, well, that's not the flare for me. This one could be though. You know, boom, cool. So what else can I do? Well, if for whatever reason you've got flares on your timeline that need to be blended but aren't, for whatever reason, I don't know what the scenario would be, but let's say you've already got a bunch of flares in your timeline, right? And who knows, maybe your assistant editor just dropped them in or whatever the reason is. So you find a flare that's already been blended and highlight it, hit Shift 5, and over here under opacity, where your blend modes and everything are, just go ahead and highlight opacity and hit copy. And then I just go over here to my flares that haven't been blended and I highlight them both and I hit paste, right? It's also a great way to change the blend mode on the fly. So that one was already blended and now this one is blended and this one is blended. You can also change all these on the fly if you had one in particular that you wanted to try. So let's just change this blend mode here to overlay and make it just really wild. Okay, that's a little too nuts, but humor me here. Go ahead and highlight opacity, hit copy, and then just grab your other flares and hit paste. Now all of your other flares are in overlay mode. Cool, now we obviously weren't going to do that, so just get rid of all that. All right, so I had a couple extra shots set up for you, and I wanted to show you how I did them. So let's go to this guy right here. This guy is using Studio Flares 53. Now these flares are all very unique in this batch, so it wouldn't be hard to identify it. But if you want to match specifically, that's all you have to do is look for the number. Okay, so we're over here. We got this dude walking over LA with an umbrella and baggy pants, and he's like, "What up?" Okay, so how do I make this really cool flare? Well, the flare volumes that I create always have these isolated flares where they're centrally located in the shot. You can reposition them anywhere. There's no frame lines to worry about. So let's just go ahead and I want to show you what I like to do with these flares as a different way of using these flares. These were designed mostly for text and other things that you put flares underneath, but I like to use these over real shots. So enough of my yapping. Let's just follow the process. Take the flare, drag it onto the timeline, cinch it up, right? Highlight the flare, Shift 5 to open effect controls, and what do? We go to opacity, blend mode, normal to screen. Boom. Okay, now so that's blended. Now what else do I do? Well, I don't want the flare in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and just reposition it either all the way left or all the way right. I think I like all the way left, and it's sort of kind of a sun. And the great thing about flares is you can blow them up as well and make them softer if that's the look you want. And in this case, I absolutely want to make this thing crazy big, like so. And if I roll it back, cool. I've got kind of like a sun flare, nighttime rainy thing, streakiness going on. That's cool. What if I want it to be a different color though? What, you're like, well, these are cool. These are reds and blues and greens. But what if I have a specific color? What do? Let me show you. Just like I did in this example over here, I got this color. How did I do it? Well, the first thing you would try that I recommend is a tint. So go ahead and highlight your flare, go over to the effects window here, and then type in tint. And then just drag the tint over right onto your clip. Boom. And it's going to turn it white because it says map white to, and it comes default to white. And that's a cool effect if you want a white flare. I don't. So I'm going to pick just a color value from this shot here. Let's just grab the umbrella. The umbrella is this like little pinkish, then I'll just drag it to be more saturated, right? Boom. So now I've got this like really pink stained flare. The flare, when you stain them, they lose a little bit of their properties. So I don't necessarily recommend just staining. Although if you're going to do this, maybe go over back to your effect controls and switch screen to add to see what that would do. Cool, you get a lot more color that way. But again, like I said, I don't typically just stain. So what do? Well, I'll go ahead and grab the effect here, and on the Mac, I'll hold down the Option key, on the PC, the Alt key, and then just click and drag up, which will make a duplicate of that layer. And then I'll go ahead and hit Shift 5, turning off tint altogether on the top layer because we don't want it, and maybe blend it. We'll just mix it, see what happens. That's a little much. If you're looking for a nuclear explosion, there you go, boom. So switch it back to screen, and then let's just dial the opacity back. The opacity always comes defaulted with the stopwatch turned on. I get this question a lot. Make sure to turn that off, otherwise the change you're making is only happening in that place and time. Alright, so let's just start at 50. So every time I blend, starting at 50 is an easier place to start. You can dial it up for a little less pink, dial it back for a little more pink. And so all I'm doing is blending the original flare back on top to try to get a mixture of the color and the light properties. And I think 50% is pretty good. And there you go. And that works for all the flares. So if we just grab another flare here, just grab a flare, drop it onto this shot here, say, excuse me, eargom. I could have replaced it, but I want to do the whole process here. Go ahead and move that down. Turn this to screen. Boom. All right. Let's just shrink this down a little bit so we get a little bit more of the flare in the shot. Okay, so we've got this cool flare, right? And it's blue and red, and that actually works pretty well for the shot, but for whatever reason I want to change it. So again, we highlight the clip, go to Effects, type Tint, and then just drag that to your flare. Boom. Now this got this cool white flare effect going on, but again, I want to start with something a little more purpley and then make it a lot more saturated. Cool. Cool. And of course, I can reposition, scale, and we'll do the tint thing again, or remove the tint thing like we did before. So I drag up and turn tint off, and see I've already blended. You can already see just right there, standard, it's a little bit less purple, but again, it's at 100% blend. I don't want that, so highlight this flare, go over to opacity, turn off the stopwatch, and then just dial this back. Remember, there's your hot pink, and I want to just blend it. I don't want to lose everything. So here it looks like I want to do like 33%. Cool. All right. So one last trick I'll show you on things you can do with these flares. Remember, this is media, so you should treat it as such. These are flares and these are effects, but they're overlays. So you should treat it like media. So you could speed it up just by simply right-clicking and hit speed duration, make it, I don't know, 400%, whatever you want to do. And then just drag it out because the clips are long, right? So now that's 400%, yeah! What else can we do? I think the most fun part about these effects is the fact that they're video, and as such, you get to use this amazing little tool right here. It's called the slip tool, so go ahead and highlight that. And then let's just go ahead and grab it. And as you're slipping and sliding the flare back and forth, you can see these two boxes. You're like, what are these? Well, these represent the beginning and end frames of your flare, and that's referring to this beginning and this end, not the clip beginning and clip end, but the actual edited beginning and end, right? So now I can find a very specific instance in time that I want to add to my shot. So let's just say, I'll drag replace this one right here. Cool. And see how that flare dips down right there? Let's say I want to make that happen at a different time. Just slip it. And I don't know if you noticed, but I slipped it so where the flare goes away at the very end, right? So when you're slipping and sliding, you can see here on the right, hey, there's no flare there. That's because the flare has disappeared. If I slowly scrub, you can see that the flare has disappeared. You can do the same within this shot. The flare starts empty as well. So now I can have at the very beginning of the shot no flare, and the flare comes in, right? So you now have really great control just by using things like the slip tool, using your position, your scale, your rotation, tint. Each clip becomes an infinite number of clips because you have so much control. So this comes back all the way back to the original question, why 4K? 4K gives you ultimate repositionability, and you have the ability to have ultimate control over the footage. So if you're looking at 4K versus 2K or HD, spend the few extra bucks and get yourself 4K. So you have yourself future-proofed, and you're also not worried about being locked into exactly where the elements are in the frame. All right, so that's basically it. I will show you one more just in case you're interested, but please like, comment, and share. Please subscribe. Click that R in the bottom right-hand corner because we run on love, and you know what? We need some subs in our lives. So yeah, so this is this cool shot. This Marine rocking, looks like an AK maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell in this shot, but really cool shot. And well, I do shots like this all the time for promos where would be something like the shot photography for the show, and the promo's like, hey, we need some spice up in here. So of course, boom, I add a flare, and life is good. And of course, that flare has a very specific timing, so I can use the slip tool to change things. So you can just slip and slide anywhere you want to be. So we'll have the flare up at the beginning and fading out at the end. Cool stuff. So that's it. It's all the same over and over again. You can blend any of our Film and Light products just by using drag, drop, and blend. So again, I'll do this one last time. I'll go back to our project window. I'll open up our bin, and I'll just grab a flare. This is a cool flare right here, and I'll drag it right on top of our clip right here. And again, what do? We drag, drop, and blend. So you highlight the flare. You hit Shift-5 for effect controls. Make sure you're looking for opacity. Look for that blend mode and switch it from normal to screen or whatever blend mode you like. and then you just adjust the flare to taste. Yeah. Cool. And that's that. So now you know how to add real flares, real 4K anamorphic flares to your video content. So please give them a try. Make sure to go to 4kfree.com and then let me know what you think about them. Leave a comment here or hit us up on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram. We're everywhere. Also, like I said before, if you don't want to miss the next free effects tutorial, and there's so many on the way, click that blue R in the bottom right-hand corner right there, and you can subscribe to our channel. We run on love, like I always say, and thank you so much for the love. We love each and every one of you. So that's it. Head on over to 4kfree.com. That's 4kfree.com and load up on some real free 4K goodness from Stephanie and myself. Until next time, I'm Sean Mullen from RampantDesignTools.com. Thanks for watching.